powerful winds, waves as tall as mountains, millions of tons of water crashing against it. Even with all of that combined, why can't it sink a cargo ship? Well, before we get into that, take a moment to think about this. Cargo ships are what keep our entire world running. If cargo ships stopped operating, the whole world would grind to a halt in an instant. If cargo ships stopped for even a single day, the price of every product on Earth would shoot far beyond your reach. So what is life actually like inside one of these cargo ships? Does it just look like a mountain of containers to you, or is there a whole world inside that massive hull, a life completely different from anywhere else on the planet? People who fight against the vastness of the ocean, who dodge the hand of death on a regular basis, who make your life this easy just by doing their jobs. What is their life really like? Let's find out by stepping inside the largest cargo ship on Earth. Today, we're going inside a container ship called the Maersk EE cargo ship. Only 31 ships of this type were ever built in the entire world. These ships are 1,312 feet long, 193 feet wide, and 240 feet tall. Honestly, just hearing the length and width measurements makes it hard to grasp just how massive this thing really is. So, to put it simply, if you stood on the deck of this ship, you'd be standing nearly 200 feet above sea level. Even the containers on this ship, if you tried to load them all onto a train, that train would have to be more than 70 miles long. Just think about how enormous that is. And that's not all. This ship's maximum weight capacity is around 250,000 tons. Of that, the ship's own weight is only 63,000 tons. The rest is entirely made up of the containers it carries. Here's an interesting fact. These container ships don't actually have a traditional deck, because their entire purpose is to carry as many containers as physically possible, even though that comes with some risk. The Maersk, one of the largest ships in the world, can carry 24 columns of containers. Each column can hold 23 containers side by side, and within each column, containers can be stacked up to 21 high, one on top of another. Its capacity is even bigger than you'd imagine, right? Now let's head below deck. 100 feet below sea level, this is what the inside of the ship looks like. Just from this, you can tell that crew members have to climb down long, steep stairways whenever they need to get below. These ships are so massive that being inside one feels like you've stepped into an entirely different world. Many crew members actually get a little scared just from how enormous it feels. And because of that fear, they never want to be alone in any isolated part of the ship. The ship has something called a torsion box, which is basically a type of metal frame that wraps around the entire vessel. It's what holds the ship's structure and balance together, making sure it never breaks apart. These rings are so large that an entire corridor has been built right through them, so crew members actually use these corridors to move from one part of the ship to another. Here's the most interesting part. Even though these container ships are massive in size, they don't actually need a huge crew to operate them. In most cases, a group of just 25 crew members is enough to run the entire ship. These crew members spend most of their time up on the ship's bridge, and only rarely do they need to go down into the hull or other parts of the vessel. The bridge areas themselves are actually quite small. Everything else on the ship, aside from these small operational spaces, is reserved entirely for containers. Every crew member on a cargo ship works in 4-hour shifts, and these shifts can fall at any time of day because someone always has to be awake and alert on the ship at all times. Maintaining the ship's various machinery, navigating safely through the ocean, cooking, and keeping the bridge clean are some of the crew's most important responsibilities. But working on a container ship also involves a lot of hard physical labor. Crew members have to stick to an extremely tight daily schedule, and once a voyage begins, they have to spend anywhere from 3 to 6 months at sea without a break. During this time, there's absolutely no way for them to go back home to their families, and sometimes they can't even stay in touch with them. Even when the ship docks in a city, the crew rarely gets any time to actually go out and explore, because container ships have to be loaded and unloaded within just 24 to 48 hours. With that little time, there's simply no room for the crew to enjoy the city. That said, most cargo ship workers do earn a substantial salary, and they get up to 6 months a year to spend with their families during their time off. These cargo ships carry goods worth thousands of crores of tanka in their containers. If, for any reason, one of these cargo ships meets with an accident, all of that treasure worth crores and crores of tanka simply disappears into the depths of the ocean. On top of all that, there's always the looming threat of pirates at sea, so crews constantly have to stay prepared to defend themselves against pirate attacks. Pirates typically use small speedboats to launch attacks on these cargo ships. Sometimes they even manage to take the entire crew, including the captain, hostage. For example, a Bangladeshi cargo ship was recently attacked by pirates, though we won't get into the details of that here. Because of this constant threat, most container ships have some form of self-defense system in place. One of the most effective methods is the water hose system. These hoses spray out high-pressure water, creating a kind of protective barrier around the ship. The sheer force of the water makes it nearly impossible for pirates to climb aboard. More recently, Japan has developed an even more advanced system called the anti-piracy curtain. It's essentially made up of several hoses combined together, which continuously rotate around the sides of the ship while shooting out high-pressure water. This makes it virtually impossible for pirates to fight through the water pressure and climb onto the ship. That said, if a large group of pirates attacks all at once, it can still be very difficult to stop them, since these cargo ships operate with such a small crew. Some larger ships do carry a somewhat bigger crew though. Keeping the containers themselves secure is also a major challenge. To handle this, the crew locks all the containers in place using a special locking system. And if that's not enough, they also use heavy chains or thick ropes to tie the containers down firmly, so that no matter what kind of disaster strikes at sea, the containers never get knocked loose and fall into the ocean. And after going through all of this, once a cargo ship finally reaches port, it gets completely emptied out in just 24 to 48 hours. And right after that, without any real break, the loading process starts all over again. Its journey never truly stops,